Anger management, conflict resolution, and peacemaking. Introduction. Conflict resolution can be defined as the various methods or means that can be applied to ensure the total elimination of any form of conflict. This process usually involves several steps. These steps include the all-important negotiation process. Additionally, mediation and finally the diplomacy part of it are also as important as the whole process. Resolving disputes also includes the process of arbitration. Another process that is included in the litigation. Also included is a formal process of an ombudsman. Though, on the other hand, the process of arbitration is often known as an alternative method of resolving some of the various disputes. Another process also known for doing this is arbitration. Peacemaking, on the other hand, could be described as a certain form of resolving conflicts. Its major focus is usually on ensuring the proper establishment of relationships that are majored around power that is equivalent to both parties. This relationship ought to be able to mitigate any form of conflict that might occur in the foreseeable future. It also ought to put in place a proper way of ensuring that agreements are reached on ethical decisions, especially in communities, countries, or societies that had experienced some form of conflict initially. Understanding is usually required for this to happen. Therefore, to ensure that enemies or previous adversaries can come to a point of reconciling, these involved parties ought to have some dedication towards ensuring that there is some understanding. In terms of its application, it is commonly referred to as justice that is transformative in criminal justice. It is, however, referred to as mindful mediation when matters in question are not as volatile as to cause major disruptions in the whole community, according to Ouellet. Anger management. Drew, in her article titled Managing Anger, 3 Steps Across the Bridge, believes that energy could be sapped from anyone during conflicts. This could lead to a point whereby one feels as being less creative and further the divisions that have been created advance into unrepairable scenarios. As much as such scenarios could develop into unsociable disruptions, they still are in existence. According to Drew, there is a bridge existing between a certain conflict and its eventual resolution in peace. This bridge is the space that is always allowed before any form of reaction by the concerned parties. The author thinks that some actions must be undertaken for that space to be created. These actions include first becoming aware of the reactions that you are experiencing while getting angry. The writer thinks that to ensure that anger is not escalated to the other parties involved, one ought to let them know that the concerned party is quite angry and hence needs some time to cool down. Secondly, there is usually a feeling of not having many choices. This feeling is usually false and thus one needs to stop, breathe deeply at least 3 times, and if possible, just walk away for a while. Thirdly, there ought to be some willingness from the person involved in some initial phase of conflict to just let it go. Elements of conflict resolution and peacemaking. The common ways of ensuring that conflict is resolved include but are not limited to ensuring accommodation through surrendering of wishes that might be carried by one so that the other parties involved could appreciate. It could also be avoided altogether by ignoring the initial suggestions of conflict. However, in cases where conflict is already out there in the open, then other methods like working together through a collaborative effort could help provide a mutual solution. Another option could involve the use of a third party that is not so much involved in the issue under conflict to try and bring a solution to the impasse. Alternatively, the viewpoints of one party could be asserted to ensure that the issue is resolved. Counseling could be used as a long-term solution to this impasse, as noted by Ouellet. Peacemaking, on the other hand, is usually a tool that is often used by those individuals who could manage to gain a mastery of techniques that are non-violent while at the very same time experiencing pressure that could lead to violence of a high magnitude. These people become masters of knowing how to ensure those that they lead have the same resistance to violent actions. Therefore, with such a kind of utter disrespect to responses that are violent in nature, such leaders become known as the most qualified peacemakers. Conclusion. Peacemaking and conflict resolution are 2 aspects that are always going hand in hand. A mastery of the various techniques to ensure that peace is kept is one of those vital steps toward ensuring world peace. Those leaders who have mastered the art of peacemaking, for example, Mohandas Gandhi, have great patience and endurance to violent instigations. Such patience is what is highly needed for the creation of any form of peace.